Welcome to the Latvian Gambit Example 5. Since you're probably already familiar with these principles that we've outlined in the Latvian Gambit, such as the fact that it's incredibly unsound and you're supposed to develop early, we're going to yet another iteration of it. So without ado, let's look at this. What we have here is a Latvian Gambit against finally another highly rated player in the 2100 plus range. And again, the engine wants us to move knight to c6 because it knows the Latvian Gambit is unsound. Now in this particular video, this person did a playable move, but they have to be very careful about how they play it, moving the knight back to f3. It's not the preferred move. The correct retreat is to c4. So we're going to see what happens when they move to f3. At this point in time, there are a variety of things that can happen, and I've had a lot of different things be played here, such as knight to g5. So this pin should be okay. It should work. There should be ways to get an advantage out of it. As you can see, white does have an advantage. Now I've decided, well, I don't have the engine on, so it'd be hard to verify. Okay, so now I decided to reinforce with pawn to d5, which is just a preference of mine. There are other moves that can be played, but it's suggesting now a fairly even game after c4. And it's sharp play, so let's see what white does. Okay, suggesting c4, and he played c3. So he anticipates the fact I'm going to move knight to c6, or perhaps when he moves his knight, his d-pawn's going to be loose. And now I can get just a good advantage by playing knight to c6, which is a move I really like playing. But I've decided to move bishop to d6. Now bishop to d6 is an entirely different move. Knight to c6 is practically a waiting move, because what we're doing is we're waiting for a silly blunder, and we shouldn't be. That's hope chess. By moving knight to c6, we think he's going to move bishop to g5. So bishop to g5 is a blunder, and it gets exploited by re-attacking with the bishop on e7. And so the computer prefers it. What's interesting now is there's a suggestion that white just gives back the pawn. So black does have the advantage here. And bishop to g5 was played, which is an interesting move. So the correct move is to continuously attack that bishop. And this is the square I prefer to attack it on because it also attacks the knight. And now the computer says he should be moving bishop to c1, setting up for the next game. So obviously he's not going to do that. That's a computer move. He has two pieces under attack. Okay. One of them, however, is safe because there's a pin. So what would happen if, for instance, I just move the king? Well, he might lose one of his pieces. So he has to solve this problem at this point, and the way the computer says to solve it is move bishop back to c1. So he decides to move h3. Okay, so now it suggests just knight to e7 works. And the reason why knight to e7 works is because if he takes it, which is the logical move with the bishop, I take his knight, and his queen is attacked, and I'm going to recover his other knight. So I come up with a similar move. It's not quite as sharp, but it wins also. I guess he could move queen to b5 check and have three pawns, three pieces attacked simultaneously, but it suggests just moving g4 here is his best move, and then I just take his knight with my queen. So this is an example of just being a few moves into the Latvian Gambit, and he's hopelessly lost. As you're going to see, he's going to play bishop takes and pawn takes. And this has happened to countless opponents. Believe it or not, there's just no good way to deal with this. At this point, he's lost a piece, and the best he can do is take that pawn. And he takes the pawn. And now it becomes a matter of protecting this knight and closing the game out. And the game's going to be over shortly. So I don't want to show you the rest of this game because it's kind of a ridiculous, boring game where it just gets played out and white gets killed. So to make a long story short, this was a trap, and this is a trap people fall into quite frequently when they start pinning on the e-file in the Latvian Gambit. And Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.